The Proud Brahmin and the Perfect Place. In the great city of Rajagaha in ancient India, there lived a wealthy and very proud old Brahmin named Upasalya. He believed he was better than everyone else and was fussy about everything. As he grew old, he became worried about one thing above all. He wanted to find the most perfect, purest place in the world for his final sacred ceremony. "My son," the old Brahmin said one morning, "no ordinary place will do for me. I need a spot that has never been used by anyone, a place that is completely untouched and pure." His son, a kind and thoughtful young man, simply nodded. "Then let us go search for it, father," he said gently. Father and son walked out of the bustling city and began climbing the steep, rocky path up Vulture Peak, the tallest hill near Rajagaha. The old Brahmin huffed and puffed as they climbed higher and higher, past trees and boulders, until they reached the very top where three great hills met. The old Brahmin spread his arms wide and looked around with delight. "Here. This is it," he declared proudly. "This spot between the three hills, it is untouched. No one has ever performed any ceremony here. This is the purest, most perfect place in all the land." He smiled with great satisfaction, certain he had found something no one else ever had. As father and son made their way back down the hill, they came upon a calm, serene figure sitting on a flat rock beside the path. He was a wise ascetic, dressed in simple bark cloth, with gentle glowing eyes. "Where have you been, friends?" the ascetic asked with a warm smile. When the son explained their quest, the ascetic's eyes sparkled with interest. "Show me this perfect place," said the ascetic. They climbed back up together. When the Brahmin pointed proudly to the spot between the three hills, the ascetic closed his eyes and smiled. "My friend," he said gently, "this place is not what you think. 14,000 people, all with the very same name as yours, have had their ceremonies on this exact spot throughout the ages. There is not a single place on this wide earth that has not been used before." The old Brahmin's proud smile faded. "Then, where is the truly pure place?" he asked quietly. The ascetic placed his hand over his own heart. "The truly pure place is not a mountain or a valley," he said. "It is found within a person who lives with truth, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. Where there is goodness in the heart, that is the most sacred place of all." The old Brahmin's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in his life, he understood. It did not matter where his ceremony would be held, what mattered was the kind of person he was. He bowed deeply to the ascetic and said, "Thank you, wise one. I have been searching the world for something that was inside me all along." From that day, father and son lived with kindness and humility, and found the peace they had been looking for. Moral: true purity is not found in any place, it lives in a heart filled with truth, kindness, and goodness. The Serpent and the Eagle. Long ago, in the ancient city of Benares, a grand festival was held that attracted beings from all across the land. Humans, celestial spirits, and magical creatures all gathered to enjoy the music, dance, and celebration. Among the crowd were two very special beings who did not know each other: a noble Naga, a serpent of great power, and a proud Garuda, a mighty eagle with shimmering golden wings. In the joyful crowd, the Naga was so caught up in the festivities that he accidentally placed his hand on the shoulder of the creature standing beside him. But the moment they looked at each other, both froze in shock. The Naga realized he had touched a Garuda, his kind's greatest enemy, and the Garuda realized a Naga stood right beside him, his natural prey. Fear flashed in the Naga's eyes, and hunger sparked in the Garuda's. The Naga turned and fled through the crowded streets as fast as he could. The Garuda spread his magnificent golden wings and gave chase, swooping over the rooftops. The Naga slithered through alleys and across bridges, his heart pounding with terror. The shadow of the great eagle followed close behind, drawing nearer with every beat of his powerful wings. Desperate and exhausted, the Naga reached a peaceful river outside the city. There, on the bank, a kind old hermit was washing his simple barkcloth robe in the water. With his last bit of strength, the Naga transformed himself into a tiny jewel and hid inside the folds of the hermit's robe. "Please," he whispered as he disappeared, "save me from the one who hunts me." Moments later, the Garuda swooped down to the riverbank, his golden wings stirring up dust and leaves. "Wise hermit," the Garuda called out. The serpent you shelter is my enemy and my rightful prey. Give him to me." The old hermit looked up at the mighty eagle with calm, fearless eyes. "This creature came to me for protection," he said gently. "I cannot hand over anyone who seeks my shelter, no matter who they are or who you are." The Garuda's fierce eyes softened with surprise. No creature had ever stood up to him before with such quiet courage. He folded his mighty wings and bowed his head. "Your compassion is remarkable, wise one," the Garuda said. "I will honor your sanctuary." The hermit smiled warmly and invited both creatures to his humble hut by the river. "Come," he said. "Let me show you both a better way." In his simple hut, the hermit gently called out the Naga from his hiding place. The serpent emerged, trembling, and found himself face to face with the Garuda. Both tensed, ready to fight or flee. But the hermit spoke softly about loving kindness, how hatred only breeds more hatred, how enemies are made not born, and how even the fiercest rivals can find peace when they choose understanding over fear. His words were like cool water on burning flames. Slowly, the tension melted away. The Naga lowered his hood, and the Garuda softened his gaze. For the first time in their long, bitter history, a serpent and an eagle looked at each other not as enemies, but as fellow creatures sharing the same world. They touched foreheads gently and promised to live in peace. From that day forward, the Naga and the Garuda lived side by side near the hermit's hut, the best of friends, proving that even the oldest hatred can be healed by love and understanding. Moral: even the oldest enemies can find peace through loving kindness and understanding. The boy who wanted a new name. Long ago, in the famous city of Taxila, there was a great school under a wise old banyan tree where hundreds of students came to learn. Among them was a boy with a very unfortunate name, Papaka, which meant the unlucky one. Every day, the other students would call out, "Hey Papaka, come here, Papaka," and laugh. Poor Papaka hated his name more than anything in the world. One day, Papaka went to his wise teacher and begged, "Master, please give me a new name, a lucky name, a name that will bring me good fortune." The teacher smiled kindly and said, "I cannot simply give you a new name, dear child. But I will send you on a journey. Go out into the world and find a name that you truly like. When you return, we shall see what you have learned." So young Papaka packed his bundle and set off down the dusty road, eager to find a better name. In the first village, Papaka saw a funeral procession. "Who has died?" he asked a villager. "It is poor Jataka," the man sighed. Papaka's eyes went wide. "Jataka? But that name means living. How can someone named Living be dead?" The villager shrugged. "A name is just a name, young one. Being called Living does not keep you alive forever." Papaka scratched his head in surprise and walked on, deep in thought. In the second village, Papaka saw a thin, ragged man being scolded by a wealthy merchant. "Work harder, you lazy fool," the merchant shouted. "What is that poor man's name?" Papaka asked a shopkeeper. "That is Danaka," the shopkeeper replied. Papaka could not believe his ears. "Danaka? But that means wealthy. How can someone named Wealthy be so terribly poor?" The shopkeeper laughed. "Names do not fill your pockets, child." In the third village, Papaka found a confused man wandering in circles at a crossroads, looking completely lost. "Are you all right, sir?" Papaka asked. "I cannot find my way," the man cried in frustration. "I have been going around and around." "What is your name, sir?" asked Papaka. "My name is Panthaka," the man replied. Papaka almost fell over in shock. Panthaka meant the guide, and here was a guide who could not even find his own way. Papaka sat down under a tree, and suddenly everything became clear. A man named Living had died. A man named Wealthy was poor. A man named Guide was lost. Names were just words. They did not make you lucky or unlucky, rich or poor, wise or foolish. What truly mattered was not what you were called, but what you did and who you chose to be. With a bright smile spreading across his face, Papaka jumped to his feet and hurried back to his teacher. Papaka burst through the door and bowed before his teacher. "Master," he cried happily. "I do not need a new name after all. I met a dead man called Living, a poor man called Wealthy, and a lost man called Guide. Names are just names, they do not decide who we are. I am Papaka, and I will make my own luck through kindness, hard work, and wisdom. The wise teacher beamed with pride. Now you have truly learned the most important lesson of all. And from that day on, Papaka was the happiest student in all of Taxila. He studied harder than anyone, helped his friends with their lessons, and grew up to become a great and respected teacher himself. Nobody laughed at his name anymore, because everyone knew that a name is just a word. It is our actions, our kindness, and our courage that make us who we truly are. And that is a lesson worth more than any name in the world. Moral: a name is just a word. It is our actions, kindness, and courage that make us who we truly are.